Hey y'all, it's your pal Madge, and it is a beautiful afternoon in my garden. I wanted to show you what's going on back here and also tell you about my plans for a corner that I thought was shady but is not.
Let's start the tour. In front of me here to the left of our path, you can see the kitchen garden, these two big beds that are all full of delicious things to eat now. The second one is covered with some shade cloth to protect my husband's prized hot peppers. And to the right of the path, you can see another garden bed for the kitchen garden, just ready to be dug.
And you can see over here against the fence, I did end up moving my sweet peas so that they would get a little bit more sun than the place that I put them before. But they have reached the trellis, ladies and gentlemen, and they are starting to climb. And we're going to have great weather for the next week. We're going to have a good mix of sunshine and rain, and it's going to be in the 70s. So I expect these guys to just start taking off and starting to cover that trellis. And the little bed that's in front of them, I planted out with some celosia, some poppies, and some more snapdragons. So that should start filling in soon as well. But yeah, it's really looking good, all except for the pile of garbage, which gets smaller and smaller every week. Everything in these beds along the deck also just doing great. This cress right here is taken over, and my bells of Ireland are putting on a lot of growth, as are the feverfew and the nasturtiums. Here's the ranunculus bed that we planted together. I'm really excited to see how many sprouts we have. And I'm hoping that the weather stays cool enough, long enough, that we get some flowers too. The Lysianthus are still putting on a lot of growth. They're probably 4 or 5 inches tall now, which is amazing. Our lavender snapdragons are getting huge. I pinched some of them off so that we'll get more branches and more blooms, but I left some of them as a single stalk so that we'll have blooms on those ones sooner. And then this bed over here, again, everyone is just doing great. My yellow snapdragons, my Madam Butterfly snapdragons are a little smaller, but they're doing fine. They're growing. Some more bells of Ireland, and these are all apple blossom snapdragons that I planted. And this is one of my favorite varieties. It's a white snapdragon that has a pink and yellow middle to the flower. Super gorgeous. And this bed is our edible bed up on the deck. And these yellow flowering guys are bok choys that we're letting go to seed. And you can see there's a little bee on there getting his lunch. Amazing. Then we have some herbs, some onions, some more baby bok choys, and some absolutely gorgeous lettuce that we're going to harvest together later. The green stalks are still doing really well. We have not only strawberries sprouting, but also nasturtiums.
And all of these seedlings on the table are just waiting to go into the ground. We're going to make it happen, you guys. I promise.
And over in this little area, we have a hanging basket that I could not resist. We have our key lime tree in this terracotta pot here. We had some problems with this guy when we got it. He was infested with spider mites, but I think that being outside is doing him a lot of good. So I don't see any more insects on there. So we'll just have to see how it goes. And then I have my baby rose garden. I have 4 roses. I've never grown roses before. And so far I had 2 blooms. This one is called Honey Dijon. This one is Princess Charlize de Monaco. This one in the dark pot is called Coco Loco. This is an insane variety that changes color halfway through the bloom. It starts out as a cocoa color and fades to lavender. Incredible. And then this one is Earth Angel, and she's putting on so much growth. I can't wait to see what these blossoms look like.
Before we get on with the tour, I'm just going to go ahead and harvest this beautiful head of lettuce. I'm just cutting it off at the root. Look at that. So nice and crispy. And then I'm going to get these last couple of leaves that I missed when I cut it. And then I'm going to use this wooden tool to poke the roots down into the soil so that they can compost in place. And then I'm going to replace it with a new little lettuce plug that my husband started growing inside. This lettuce was delicious. We had it on a chicken salad with some fries on it because that's how we do in Pittsburgh. And yeah, grow your own lettuce, guys. It's a really good idea. Now we're looking at all the plants lined up on my front porch. And this is where I come in the evening to pick some yummy herbs, some chocolate mint, some pineapple sage, and make a cup of tea before I go to bed. I'm trying all the different kinds of mint that I can find, and it's a really nice way to wind down and end my day.
This spot where I'm sitting, I had thought that it was going to be a shady corner. Turns out, as I've been here and observing it as the season's been changing, it gets sun almost all day. So I'm rethinking what I'm going to do with this space. So let's talk about it.
This fence to the left does get some shade throughout the day, especially right up against the fence. So I put my hydrangeas here temporarily just to sort of test them out and see if they like this area. If they don't, I'll move them, but if they do, I'll plant them here properly next season. Now, this fence to the right, though, it gets full sun all day. So I think I am going to put in a garden bed here and just plant a bunch of flowers because Lord knows I have a lot of baby flowers looking for a home.
But the first step is to level it out. So, in order to do that, I got some cedar chips and I'm going to spread those over this area where I previously put down the cardboard and see if I can make it fairly level. The ground is a little lumpy, especially as you get close to the fence, it sort of dips down a little bit. So, I'm hoping that by using this mulch, I can create a more level base for the raised bed. I did put down tons of cardboard. It took me forever to take off the tape and to get it laid down here. We want that grass underneath the cardboard to die. So eventually we'll have access to the soil underneath. And the soil in this garden is actually pretty good. We had thought when we moved in that maybe it was going to be kind of clay or not that nutrient dense just because nothing's been growing here for a long time except grass. But as it turns out, it does have some clay, but it also has some areas that are pretty nice and fluffy. And when you dig some compost in and maybe a little bit of straw, the soil turns out to be beautiful. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and enjoy the sunshine and drink my cup of tea. And then I'm going to start spreading out these cedar chips.
The first thing I did off camera actually was I took some smaller pieces of cardboard and I kind of wedged them in under the lower fence rail between that fence rail and the ground to sort of act like a little lip so that when I dump all the cedar chips on here, they don't just go spilling out underneath the fence into the neighbor's yard. And now I'm taking a few minutes to really water the cardboard, get it good and wet. So hopefully it will be a little bit less stiff and will start to mold to the contour of the ground a little bit better. And now I'm walking on that wet cardboard to sort of help that process along. It is pretty lumpy in this area of the yard. And as I'm working with this, I'm realizing that cedar chips are going to break down, cardboard is going to break down. So those are probably not the materials that I want to use to level the ground underneath the raised bed. It is really important to have a level raised bed because if it's off level, then your soil could spill out the bottom or the sides of the bed could bow. So, it's a step-by-step process. You do some stuff and then you realize, oh, snap, maybe that wasn't the smartest idea. I do really like these cedar chips though. They smell great and they feel really nice to walk on. So when we finally get this bed level and set up, it's going to be a really nice place to hang out. At this point, I'm starting to think, I'm not sure this is the right way to go. So instead of continuing on, I decide to just water in what I've done to help it sort of mold to the contour of the earth below and to give me a little chance to think about what we're going to do next. This leveling business, gotta be honest, it's not my favorite, but I keep remembering that when I have flowers in a flower box growing up over my head, it is all going to be worth it, right?
It's the next morning, and while I was out hanging with my family yesterday, my husband, who is a literal prince, put this bed together for me. It looks pretty cute over here, right? With the bench against the fence, the hydrangeas planted, some bricks around the edge. It's looking pretty cute, and I'm very happy. The only issue is this thing is not even close to level. It's probably 2 inches lower on the left side than on the right side. So, next steps. I'm going to sit here and stare at this thing for a while and think about how we can get the end that is much lower to be a little bit higher, or maybe the end that's much higher to be a little bit lower. There's a couple of ways we could go about it. For now, I'm thinking maybe bricks, maybe sod, maybe a combination of the two. But at any rate, come back next week for the thrilling conclusion of how we get this flower bed ready to plant and planted. And thanks for spending some time with me today. It's always great to see you and to share what we've got going on in our little garden. And if you want to follow along to see how we continue the transformation, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great week, friend. Bye for now.